fundraising, proposal development, and building strategic partnership across West and Central Africa. He currently works as a business development advisor for Save the Children International, where he leads efforts to mobilize resources from key donors. He is also a senior lecturer in project management at FUNIC and passionate about mentoring and building capacity in others. So, with a master's degree in business administration and project management, along with the PMD Pro certification, he is also pursuing a doctorate in business administration, focusing on strategic alliances and donor engagement. So, today, Maimo will help us explore how social impact can be a meaningful and rewarding career path, and why now is that time to step up or set up and make a difference. So let's give a warm welcome to Maimo Giovanni. Over to you, Maimo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Atira, for introducing me. I do hope everybody can see my screen and see me clearly as we're going to start this presentation. So, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time zone you're found in. So, I am Maimo Giovanni, as I was duly introduced, and by career, I am called a business development advisor. Now, what this means is that I work to mobilize resources to help organizations grow, or I work in the expansion of organizations, in the growth of organizations. And I currently work in the non-profit sector. So, the goal is to see how we can mobilize resources to meet some of these non-profit or these social or these caritative goals of these non-profit organizations. And that is where the topic of social impact really comes from. So, as it was said, this involves a lot of things: partnerships, fundraising, strategy development, and all of those. So, I'm very, very pleased to have to share some of this with you, and I hope you're going to find that very, very insightful for you, especially those who want to have a career in the non-profit sector, or have careers that bring social impact. So, we're going to go off with it by asking ourselves, what do we mean by social impact? Now, if we are talking about social impact, it means that some activity, some project, some endeavor is being done that drives a positive change for people, for communities, and environments through the provision of either goods or services. So, in this case, we're talking about organizations that work in the sector of non-profit, social corporate social responsibilities, and we are talking at the same time about government. Now, when we mean non-profits and social enterprises here, these are organizations that are out to help the community, help in community development, improve in lives of people. When we talk of corporate social responsibility, this is that aspect of for-profit organizations where they try to give back to the society from which they extract profit from. And so there are always some corporate social responsibility endeavors that are being carried out by for-profit or profit-making organizations. And then we'll talk, of course, about governments, because governments are usually there for the general well-being of the people. Now, we have an example here about microfinance initiatives to lift families out of poverty, or literacy programs for out of school children. And you can give many, many, many examples. What we mean here by social impact is having a career or working in an organization or participating in initiatives that create social impact in communities. Okay, and therefore, as opposed to having a career in an organization that is out there just to make profit, just to increase on its sales, just to increase on its market. The other alternative is working for an organization that has social impact, and that is what we're going to be looking at today. Now, moving on to the next slide, the question comes: why pursue a career in social impact? Why should we have a career in social impact? Because you can make the argument by saying that if you have a career in another domain that does not have to do with social impact, maybe you could earn more, you could have more advantages, more career growth and so on, but there are some advantages for working in the social impact area. So it helps you to create awareness and address pressing issues in the world, issues related to poverty, to health, to education, and to climate change. These are things that are very, very important for the well-being of people and for the survival of a planet. Talking about poverty issues, looking at areas in the world where people are living in abject poverty. Okay, whether we are looking at areas in Southeast Asia, in Sub-Saharan Africa, or if we're looking at areas in South America and things like this, how do people live? Looking at health issues related to diseases, to viruses that are affecting people in certain areas who sometimes do not have a certain level of support and care that you can have in developed countries or in cities that are more developed and that have better healthcare systems. Looking at education, children that are out of school, that do not have access to education, level of illiteracies, which affect workforce of countries in the long run. And then looking at climate issues, okay, how the climate is degrading, um, looking at things related to global warming, deforestation, pollution of the environment. Pursuing a career in social impact means that you'll be involved in helping to create awareness and addressing um, some of these issues. Then, secondly, it could help you find personal fulfillment because you'll be doing a mission-driven work that really solve world issues. Which means that what this means that internally you will know that the work that you are doing helps in resolving real world issues. Okay, the work that you're doing is useful for the society, for the community, for the country, and for the world as a whole. It is purpose driven. Then once you have a career in that is geared towards social impact, it can drive you towards social entrepreneurship. Now not to go into much into the concept of social entrepreneurship, but let's just say to the creation of, let's say, social enterprises. That means organizations that will be there to work for the well-being of the community. That process of identifying problems and creating solutions through setting up organizations or setting up goods and services that can address these issues, that is what is called social entrepreneurship. So by having a social impact career, it can easily drive you into social entrepreneurship. Why? Because you'll be in that front line where you can identify problems. You have that capacity of reflection to what are some of the solutions to this problem. You'll be able to lead organizations, people, systems to solve these problems. And therefore, you'll be getting into social entrepreneurship. And of course, there are great perspectives for growth and career development because when we talk about social work or working in non-profits, you can work in various fields. You don't necessarily need to be an expert in humanitarian action per se. As we'll be going further, you're going to see that whatever technical expertise area that you have, you can bring it into social impact and you can grow from there. And if you look at some of our leaders that we have today in the world, in some of the countries and so on, you actually see that some of them were by far or closely related to some social impact initiatives, and from there they were able to grow into more leadership roles in the society. Okay, now, what are the current trend in social impact careers? Now, first thing you're going to notice is that social entrepreneurship and philanthropy is on the rise. That means there are more and more people who are getting into social entrepreneurship, more and more billionaires are getting into philanthropy. We just saw a few weeks ago where Bill Gates was presenting a plan where he plans to give away all his wealth through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That is philanthropy. Okay, so it is something that is coming on the rise where private individuals are giving away their world for social impact projects because as billionaires they realize that if the world continues to have issues, they will not be able to sustainably maintain some of these their huge organizations. Then also On the contrary, we have governments dissociating from funding or reducing their support for social initiatives. We could see back in January when President Donald Trump came and he cut funding for US aid, which is basically dismantled right now. We could saw the Swedish government with their present plan where they reduce funding over a couple of years. We can saw the new government budget of the UK where they reduced funds that were basically allocated to development through FCDO, where funds are going to be now focused more towards military. So there is this wave in America and even in Europe where some of these conservative leaders are taking power and they think that most of the resources should be focused on developing their country rather than having social impact worldwide. And of course, there's increased professionalization and data driven outcomes. The sector is growing, and therefore, there is an increase in people who are pursuing careers, who have made a life or a career out of social impacts. And we're working more with data driven solutions. And then we're also seeing partnerships between private sector and non-profits, which also comes through maybe some sort of corporate social responsibility initiatives and so on. But Mastercard Foundation, for example, signed like I think a $300 million partnership over a couple of years with UNHCR so that they can help refugees and their children, looking at migration pathways and some of that. So these are some of the trends, some of the developments in the sector. So even though some governments are dissociating, we are seeing that there are new actors that are coming into this sector. Now, starting a career in social impact, how do you actually start off? We have looked at what social impact is. We've looked at the trends. We've seen why you may want to start a career in social impact. Because as we are talking now, some of you in this webinar, there could be some of you who are already in this field. There could be some of you who have been looking from outside, and maybe you could want to get it. Now, usually we look at it from three ways. I'm not going to go into some early steps and some kind of things because I assume we're quite knowledgeable about some of those things. But in your early career, that means when you want to get into having a career in social impact, the first thing you need is experience, because it could be a sector you're not used to, or it could be that you're an entry level person, you have never had any experience at all, and you've chosen social impact as your area of career where you want to develop your career in. Now, the first thing you should be looking at is volunteer internships and entry level roles. And nothing for me comes before this. Why? Because no matter the program you studied in university or in school, there's always an area where you can find yourself. Okay, let me take for example, if you did IT, you could be an IT manager in a non-profit organization, or you could be an IT manager for a project, you could be a data manager. If you did maybe engineering, you could be working on construction projects. If you're somebody who is versed with education, there are a lot of programs for out of school children, literacy programs. Okay, if you're somebody who did maybe psychology, there are a lot of programs on the domain of child protection, child rights. If you did maybe communication, there are a lot of programs for communication staff. You can do advocacy, PR, and a lot of things. So no matter what you study, it doesn't stop you from getting in. The Of course, a lot of people will say one of the main programs you study when you want to get into social impact is international development or humanitarian action. But when you get into the field, you see people from diverse backgrounds. Okay, I myself, I have a background first of management. It's afterwards that I did project management and other things. So in your early career, either you're moving from other careers or you're starting off, it's always good to do a lot of volunteering and a lot of internships. Okay, volunteering means that you're going to offer to work for an organization within a period of time and without necessarily receiving a pay. Okay, there could be some compensation for something but not really a pay. Or you could do internships, or you could look for entry level roles. Entry level roles are roles for which no experience is required. Okay, so that is how you start getting volunteer, getting internship, entry level roles, so that this allows you to gain experience and learn about the sector and learn about the work, okay, based on whatever career you want to engage in. Then when you're getting into your mid career, okay, where you could get to the level of being a program manager, being a specialist, being a team lead, these are usually roles that you get once you have, let's say, within 3 to 5 years of experience, going to maybe like 7 years of experience. Okay, you can now have program manager roles, specialist roles, team lead roles, because you've entered the career and you've been able to specialize in a particular field of intervention. Maybe you're specialized in program management. You're a specialist maybe in business development, like myself. You're a specialist in education. You're a specialist in let's say protection. You're a specialist in livelihood programs and all of those. And then you can lead teams. Okay. Then of course you can have a senior career where you can be director, you can be consultant, you can be board member. Okay. Organizations usually have directors, whether you're directing a country, you're directing a region, you're director for a department, or you've reached the level of expertise where you can sell yourself as a consultant, or you may not want to be active, but you just sit in board meetings of some of these organizations and participate in the overall strategic decision making. Okay, so that is kind of like the summary roadmap where you move from early career, from entry level roles and volunteering, to a mid career, and maybe to a senior career. And one thing I want to say here, as we're looking at for those who transition, you can actually transition and enter from a mid career level if you're able to transfer some skills. And we're going to look at that. So now, what is some personal branding you can do when you want to transition into the social impact sector, especially if you're an entry level person, or if you're trying to transition? You need to personally brand yourself. Personal branding means that you need to show people, one, that you have skills, and two, you have interest. Okay, you may not have the skills, but you may have interest, and those two are enough to get you in. So now, all of us are digital today, so you need to develop a mission aligned online presence, which means we see a lot of people who are passionate about feminism, women empowerment, gender issues, which are very, very important issues we should discuss today. You can see in their online communication on all their platforms, okay, you can see that they are passionate about this thing and they are talking about this thing. That means you're selling yourself out here as, I am somebody who likes these kind of programs, and I am always discussing about it. I'm always doing research about it. I'm always putting out some content about it. I don't mean being a content creator necessarily, but making sure you can publish your thought in blogs, in articles, as much as you can, without it necessarily being refined, because you will find yourself in let's say a platform where you have the attention of some of the leaders within this sector, and therefore it's good to sell yourself as somebody who is interested by these issues, as somebody who is concerned by these issues, as somebody who is identifying problems in these issues, as somebody who is proposing solutions. Okay, these are things that can help you get into social impact projects, initiatives, or organizations, because you're able to sell yourself, or maybe you can do blogs or things like that. Okay, you're able to identify yourself as someone who is doing something in this domain. Then now you need to learn how to network. Now this networking can be when you're in the sector, or it can be networking that you want to use in order to get into the sector. So you need to identify and attend events. Now this is just talking generally, but the event is going to be determined more specifically by the field you're going to choose. Let's say you're somebody who is passionate by youth engagement and participation. You're somebody who is being passionate about education. You're somebody who is passionate about gender programs. You're somebody who is passionate about programs that alleviate poverty. You're somebody who is passionate about programs that provide energy, clean energy, to remote areas. You go online, you identify forums, um, discussion forums, conferences, whatever it is about these events, and you see how you can attend them. Why? Because by attending this, first, you're going to be more knowledgeable about the area. You're going to meet people who are interested in the sector, who are working in the sector, and from there you can be able to connect with them, and this can help you have better connections, help you have jobs, opportunities, help you to join initiatives and things like that. So it's very, very important to identify and attend events. So we cannot go listen those events because it's going to specifically depend on the sector, but there are always award forums that are organized. The World Bank has a lot of forums on youth. You can go to DVEX. It's a platform for development professionals. They have a lot of webinars up there which you can attend. Or Development Aid, they're the same thing. Then you can join LinkedIn groups where they share a lot of this content, and you can also respond on certain key issues when they are like people do like small articles. You can respond in comments and also share your perspective. That is a way of connecting. Then you can volunteer locally. Okay, because as we talked about volunteering earlier, it's difficult for you to volunteer internationally maybe when you're starting off, but volunteer locally. Look around your environment. What is that local initiative that you can participate in, so that you can build grassroots connections? You can build connections at home in that particular sector which you're looking at. And of course, it goes to say that you have to participate in the initiatives that are already existing within your community. Okay, identify these initiatives and make sure that you participate in some of these initiatives within your community. This is going to help you network. When we're talking of this networking aspect, it's going to help you identify people and identify opportunities. Okay, and people usually link you to opportunities, and opportunities also link you to people, help you to grow in that aspect. Okay, now another thing, when you want to continue to grow or join in the impact sector, is that you need to continue your education. Now, don't get me wrong here. I don't mean that you need education or you need to have all of these certifications before you can start in the impact sector. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that um, if if you want to grow your career, maybe you want to move from early career to mid-level career, you may need some of these certifications. Okay, or if you are just starting, having some certifications can help in some cases, but I prefer the way of getting some internship, some volunteering, so you kind of understand what it's all about, and that will help you know what kind of certification program you need. Because if you just get up now, you don't have any experience, and you say, okay, I'm going to do PMG Pro certification, I'm doing PMP certification, I'm going to join UniAthena's academic programs and short courses. That is good, you're going to learn, but the question comes, which course are you going to study? Okay, which course are you going to study? You don't know which course to study. But if you have some short, small level experience, maybe through volunteering, through participation in community initiatives, you're going to see that, okay, from this wide perspective of courses, I can take this certification. I can come to UniAthena's academic programs, and I can say, okay, I'm going to choose this program. Maybe I'm going to do operations management. I'm going to do program management. Maybe I'm doing a short course on health. Maybe I'm doing a short course on education. Maybe I'm doing this. Maybe I'm doing that, because you have a perspective of how that knowledge is going to help you grow, how it's going to help you develop your skills for the next step. Okay, so in order to continue your education, you need some background. Now, it also helps to talk to people who are in the sector. They can give you the background and identify which course is best for you. For example, if you come and talk to me and you explain to me some of the things you want to do, I can advise you that, okay, based on this, these are the programs that are best for you to study. Okay, but the certifications are different. Like what we have here, we have the certified fundraising expert certification, which is mostly for people who are doing fundraising, people who raise funds, organize events to raise funds. We have the PMD Pro, which is Project Management for Development Professional Certification. Uh, as some of you may know, project management, put simple, is different from project management for development. At least that is what the project management for NGOs has tried to do, like contextualize project management for development. Then you have monitoring and evaluation certifications. You have certifications on non-profit management, and then you can come to UniAthena as well. We have short courses where at the end of the short courses you're going to have certifications which can help you in your career. Now, even if you're going in for the certifications, you need some sort of preparation. Okay, so you cannot just get up now and go and take any of these certifications. So sometimes the online courses are better because it doesn't just give you the certification, but it helps you understand. For some of us who are in the sector, you may already have the understanding and you could just need the certificate to prove it and give you access to some circles. So it's always good to continue your education, not just online program courses, but taking up other programs. There are a lot of master's programs, PhD, DBA programs, and all of those. There are a lot of programs that are being offered by UniAthena in many universities, in partnership with many universities, which you can take. Instead of taking a short course, if you want to have extensive knowledge in a sector, you can actually take a master's course in operations management, in project management, in finance, and all of those things. That's another aspect of continuing the education. Then one good thing now is mentorship and advising. So in order to get into the social sector, it's always good to seek mentorship. And one of the ways to seek mentorship, if you don't know people, we talked previously about networking on LinkedIn, finding forums, and all of that. That is usually the first area where you can identify mentors and connect with them and maybe request for mentorship, or you can join platforms that are meant for mentors, okay, like Mentor Cruise and Impact Hub, where you can have a mentor assigned and you guys have a clear program. Okay, you're going to set clear mentorship goals and you have check-in, and you have to follow that program. You're going to sit down with somebody, you guys are going to have a discussion. uh you and your mentor, you're going to set goals to say, in 1 year, in 2 year, in 3 years, this is where I want to get to. Okay, these are the things you need to do in order to meet those goals. Okay, then you're going to start working on those things and you're going to have regular schedules to see if you're meeting up with those goals. And based on how well you're doing, you're going to be given advice, and some of these programs could allow you to participate in some conferences, in some events, in webinars like this one, where you can learn a lot of new things which you were not versed with before. And then one good thing is that you can use your mentors network. Okay, you can use your mentors network. Once you have somebody as your mentor, their network becomes your network. Okay, because they can help you, link you with other people who can mentor you in other domains. They can help link you to opportunities. They can recommend you. Some can even employ you. Okay, some can coach you in certain domains. So mentorship is very, very, very important. And aside this, it's always good to identify some senior leader in the sector and ask them to mentor you, somebody who is more advanced. I could be at 8 years in my career, I need a mentor who is like 20, 30 years in my field. Okay, that person can help me see ahead, have some hindsight, and then I can use their network. I can benefit from some of their successes. I can learn from some of their failures. Okay, I can participate in some of their experiences. I can be invited to meetings, to forums which I normally do not have access to, just because I have a mentor. So mentorship and advising is very, very, very important. And this is where you need to learn how to be open, know how to engage with people, being social, know how to go to an event and start discussions with people you have never met before, just because you need this mentorship uh, aspect. Okay, Now, the question now comes, what are some of the international opportunities? And honestly, uh, we could fill pages and pages and slides on the international opportunities. But what I want to tell you is that now, Google is free. All of you have LinkedIn, and if you're usually on these platforms, you see a lot of these opportunities coming in. But as I was talking earlier about fellowships and mentorship programs, okay, it's always something that is good for you to apply for, especially for those of us who are in developing countries, because through these fellowship programs you can go and meet senior level experts in the developed countries who have kind of worked on some of these things, and they can share their journey, their challenges, their successes, and some of the solutions with you. And these fellowships serve as experience that you can use to get into certain organizations or to be part of certain projects and certain initiatives. Okay, whether you're joining the Acumen program, whether you're joining Atlas Corps, we have the Fulbright Fellowship program, we have the Mandela Washington Fellow. Maybe something that is not mentioned here. If you just go to the website Opportunity Desk, you can see a lot of opportunities in pretty much anything, be it fellowship, scholarship, and jobs. Okay, or you can go to DivX, you can go to Development Aid. There are just so many. Okay, DivX and Development Aid are going to be more for like people who are offering funding. Then you can apply for global NGO roles, because be it the UN, be it NGOs like Care International, Save the Children, Plan International, all of those, they have their websites which you can visit and click on the jobs section, and you're going to find jobs there. Now, um, this is where we could say there's a lot of training that have to be done as far as how to identify and apply for jobs is concerned, how to build your CV and all of those. That is not our scope here, but also something that you should continue learning. Maybe in the future we can organize some more webinars about that. But it is something that needs a lot of time. It needs a lot of care in terms of how you prepare your applications to make sure that you're being selected, because in some of these roles you're not just competing with people within your country, you're competing with people globally. And when we're going global or we're going regional or whatever, you begin to see people who are very, very skilled in what they do. And therefore, if you're not able to present a good application, your chances of being selected are low. Okay, so it's always good to identify international opportunities. This builds up from our previous discussion about mentorship, about networks. Okay, because once you have mentors, once you're part of networks, once you participate and volunteer for initiatives, this already creates an ecosystem around you that enables you to identify opportunities. I remember in my early career in the NGO sector, one of my key tasks every day was I come in the morning and I go online and I search for opportunities. But after 2, 3, 4 years, I don't do that anymore. My attention is focused elsewhere. Why? Because I've created a network around myself, be it even on my social media, the pages I follow, the people I connect with, the contacts I have. When an opportunity comes up, someone informs me about it. Or if I can go to my LinkedIn, I can have a notification about it. Even on my email, or somebody I'm connected to can post about it. So I don't have to go searching, it's already there. So once you've built this ecosystem around you, it enables you to identify opportunities very, very quickly. And LinkedIn is a very, very good tool for that. So of course, in the other social media on Facebook, TikTok, or whatever else, you can say okay, it's for fun and all of that. But once you're on LinkedIn, you're looking to grow your career, looking at opportunities, you follow people who are working in some of these sectors, they have the information, they'll always share it to you, and you can easily have access to it. And it can help you identify opportunities for fellowships, for jobs, for scholarships, opportunities for funding. People even share things about procedures, steps, methodologies, templates, conferences. I don't know. there's just a wide range of opportunities that you're going to have on that platform. So use it very well. If the organizations you want to work with, go to their website and click on jobs. I prefer that because there's a lot of fake information out there now. So when you go to an organization website, you're sure to see the correct information. Okay, one thing you also need to do is aligning passion with practicality. Now, if you want to work in the social impact sector, or you want to be working in the non-profit sector, knowing that you're going to engage in careers that are going to lead to some social impact, you need to make sure that you align your passion with practicality. Yes, you can be passionate about it, but that passion needs to be practical. You need to know, okay, I am passionate about this, I'm moving into this sector. How practical is it? Now, the first point is assess market demand for your skills and do job searching. This is one thing that is very, very important right now because um, for those of us in the sector, due to the funding cuts that have been done by the US government, there are a lot of people out there job searching, which means a lot of colleagues have been laid off and they're actually searching jobs. Okay, so market demand is the same or pretty much higher, and there are a lot of people who are searching jobs. So looking for a job right now becomes more and more complicated because a lot of people who had jobs have lost their job and they're now job searching. So you need to be practical. What are the skills that you have, and how can you job search for these skills? Okay, especially if you're moving in from another sector, or if you want to get into the sector, what are the skills you have and what is the current demand for those skills? Do you have skills in accounting, in finance? Are you more of a marketing, a communication, a public relations person? Are you more of a technical person in a field, education, psychology, health, nutrition? What is the demand for those skills? Okay, then you need to engage in programs in the desired field. Okay, look for programs that are in the field which you want to work in and engage on these programs. Then you need to research salary benchmarks. Go to websites like Payscale or Glassdoor. Look, for example, what is the salary range for, let me say, a technical or IT officer within a EU government funded project. Okay, so you can see some of the advantages that you can have and to really see if this is something that is practical. Okay, then you need to balance the passion with practicality by looking at roles that align with that passion. For example, if you're somebody who is passionate about the environment, then you could be looking for roles or jobs in renewable energy. You could be looking for jobs in things related to climate management. You could be looking for things related to maybe disaster risk management, or things like that. That's how you balance your passion with practicality. It's not just about talking about these things online, writing blogs, and all of those. We are looking at how to make this a career, knowing that while you're creating social impact, helping communities, helping people, you also need some benefit for you because you need to build a career, you need to have a job, you have maybe a family to feed, you have bills to pay, and therefore these things must be practical. That is what we mean here. So now, what are the essential skills for social impact? Now, if you have to come back into joining a social impact career and you're asking yourself, what are some of the essential skills you can use? We have looked at some of the things you can do to get in there, whether you're networking, whether you're continuing your education, whether you're getting mentorship, volunteering, and all of those things. But what are the skills that you're going to need? And one of the first skills that you always have is fundraising. Why is fundraising an important skill? Because non-profit initiatives do not have funding unless you are a billionaire. Okay, unless you're Bill Gates and you have your billions of dollars and you want to join social initiatives and you're going to fund them yourself, you need to know how to fundraise. This means what? Whatever initiatives you're going to have, whatever initiatives you're going to participate in, what while you're running those projects, those initiatives or participating, you should have a fundraising mindset. Have in mind that these things we are doing, they are people, they are organizations, they are systems that give us funding for this, and therefore you must have some sort of accountable way of behaving, knowing that in your project implementation you have to be accountable to, let's say, your funders, and you need to also be thinking of ways to mobilize more funds to keep these initiatives going. So you need to have fundraising skill. You need to have the opportunity to talk to people, talk to organizations, and know the processes that you're going to use to mobilize funds for your initiatives. Okay, and this means one thing: you need to be understand what are the current world issues and how do you communicate them. Not just the current world issues, but breaking it down to the issues within your community or within your country, within your department, or whatever it's called. What are the current present issues? Who are they affecting? How can I provide solutions to these issues? And this takes you directly to what we call what? Grant writing or project writing, which means you need to be able to do what? To write project proposals. Project proposals wherein you're going to showcase the understanding of a current world issue. You're going to showcase what is your proposed project, how you're going to implement it, and tell somebody what you need in terms of funds and how you're going to use those funds and how experienced your organization is in running some of these initiatives, or how experienced you are in running some of these initiatives. Okay, so you need to be able to know grant writing. That means how you structure a grant, how you do storytelling, how you do budget alignment. And just to understand that what I'm giving you here are like clues which you have to go and uh, dig dig deep on them, because grant writing on itself is, or fundraising is, a whole training program. So if you know that one of the skills you need is grant writing, you can just jot that down and um if I want to get into this sector, I need to know how to raise funds. So you go online and you can search, for example, uh what are these fundraising training programs you have online, for example. Okay, now you need to know the websites where you can find what we call funding opportunities or grant funding opportunities. Okay, that means there are websites where donors or funders publish information about the funds they are willing to offer for certain projects in certain areas. Okay, and for me, any of these websites can do. Okay, whether you're using Zivex, you're using funds for NGOs, or you're using development aid, all of these websites can do, because they usually have the same information. And these websites do not only have information about funding opportunities, they have information on conferences, on fellowship programs, information on jobs, information on contracts, information on some environmental aspects within certain sectors. So it's a whole bunch of information you can find on these websites. And if you pay your subscription to have the full version, then you're good to go. Or you can still use the free version. But fundraising and grant writing is an important skill for you to learn, especially for those of you who will be directly involved in the project management. You need to know how to write projects. Those who will be more involved in the support functions may not need this. If you're coming into the nonprofit sector, with your accounting, financing skills, with your IT skills, um, with your social skills, for or all those other skills, you may not necessarily need to learn this, but you need to understand this and know that whatever you're doing is within the context of funds being raised, and therefore you must ensure that there's continuity in the fundraising, because continuity in the fundraising ensures continuity of these initiatives. Okay, so we can take for example, you can have a charity that raised 2,000 dollars for clean water via targeted appeals. Okay, okay, you raise 200,000 for clean water within a community. Maybe you provide a water system. Okay, maybe those people need other things. Maybe that water system only handles one or two blocks or two neighborhoods. The other neighborhoods need it. Maybe that water system needs maintenance. Where do the funds come from? So you need to continue fundraising. Okay, you need to continue fundraising so you can continue the support that is being provided. And this is one of the things where you see social entrepreneurs coming and they're talking about sustainability, and they say when you have some of these initiatives, you need to make sure that these initiatives can self-fund themselves. And some people actually implement that. You can set up a water system within a community with $200,000, and what you can say is that maybe there are 100 households. You can ask them, each of them, to contribute, let's say maybe $1 a month. Okay, and then that $1 a month is being used for maintenance of the water system. That way it is sustainable. But not all programs can be made sustainable. And then there are some programs that are called life-saving programs. There is no way to sustain those programs. You just need to keep raising funds to make sure that they keep going on. Okay, then next thing, you need to know how to strategically communicate. Okay, you need to know how to craft comparative narratives that drive action, that create awareness about certain things, that propose solutions, that show a certain line or a certain interest in a particular sector. You need to be able to communicate, be it in audio, video, written format, or through whatever channels you have to use. You need to know that aspect of communication. And communication helps a lot in fundraising, because one of the ways of fundraising is that you need to organize events wherein you have to communicate to these donors, to these fundraisers. So your communication must be compelling. It should be the communication that drives action. Okay, your communication should drive action using all the channels you have available. And one very important aspect is storytelling. You need to be able to tell the stories instead of coming and telling people that we have these challenges in this area. What you can come out and do is tell a story. You can say there is a girl named Aisha who lives in this community in this region. Aisha has to walk for 5 kilometers to get potable water for drinking. Aisha goes to the farm, does farming activities 5 days a week. Aisha's parents do not have enough money to send Aisha to school, and this, told in a compelling way, using video format to actually show the reality of what these people are living, so that if somebody wants to help Aisha, they could know that if they provide a water system in Aisha's neighborhood, Aisha will not have to walk 5 kilometers every day to go and get water. Aisha can use that water system to water the farm around the house. Aisha can use that water system for her feeding and be able to eat well. Aisha can use that water system to feed her animals. With all of this being done, Aisha can be able to go to school because she has more time on her hands. Aisha can be more healthy. Okay, ways of telling stories from situations that people actually live. And you can see how just by providing a watershed, you can be able to help on somebody's health, somebody's nutrition, their education, help them with their income through animals and farming, just by providing a watershed. You must be able to tell those stories. Okay, and when we're talking about those who are transitioning, a lot of those who are doing marketing, they tend to do very well when it comes to these communication initiatives in the non-profit sector as well. Okay, one of the number one skills that you're going to need, beside fundraising, if we had to put it in a list, is project management. Okay, if you want to work in the social impact sector, you must know basic project management. Now, knowing project management means that what you need to know how you develop work plans, set milestones and timelines, okay, based on an objective that you have that you want to achieve within a specific period. How do you develop a work plan for it, knowing that in that work plan you need to account for the resources, you need to account for the budget, you need to account for the people who is going to be doing what, you need to account for the timelines to make sure that certain milestones are met at particular times. Okay, you need to know how to use log frames and theories of change so that you can be able to demonstrate to somebody how specific actions are going to lead to a certain solution. Okay, just like in the examples I used before, how is providing a watershed going to improve the livelihood of girls within a community? Okay, and therefore you're going to have your theory of change or your logic of intervention, where you're going to say, for example, by providing water, water is going to be ready available, it can be used for cooking. If it is used for cooking, you eat more times a day, you're going to be healthy. If you're not going far to look for water, you have more time on your hands for education, for farming, for livelihood. Theories of change. And of course, this is entangled with log frames, having key performance indicators that are going to uh, help you to know whether that particular activity which you're doing actually contributes to a positive output for the community. That is what monitoring and evaluation is for. Okay, because of course in a social impact project you have donors, and you need to prove to these donors that what you have done, or you have fundraisers, you need to prove to them that what you have done have actually created a positive impact. Therefore you need monitoring and evaluation, where you collect information on certain key performance indicators to provide project reports to actually prove that your intervention had a positive impact within that community or country or whatever. Then, of course, we can talk about project planning and budgeting. Okay, how do you plan a project? Looking at all the aspects of planning, from determining what is your scope of work, looking at your budget plan, all the supporting plans, be it the human resource plan, the risk management plan, uh I don't know, budget plan, whatever planning that is going to be involved in the project. Then looking at the budgeting aspects of it, because projects have limited budgets and you must work within your budget. Like we saw earlier, if you have funds of $2,000 to do a particular project, you cannot exceed that $2,000. Then you need to manage stakeholders. Stakeholders here are people who can influence your project or your program, or people who may be affected by that program. You need to manage them. You need to know how to, first of all, identify these stakeholders, understand what are their needs and expectations, and know how to communicate with them effectively to make sure that their needs and expectations are satisfied, to make sure that you have their support. Okay. Then you need to know how to manage risks. All projects are going to be new endeavors, things you've never done before. You need to know how to manage that risk. Then some of this essential skills you're going to need is advocacy and policy influence. When we're talking about advocacy and policy influence, we mean the ability to change people's mindset, the ability to drive the perception about a particular issue and drive action, positive action towards a particular issue, be it of the public or be it of specific stakeholders who can take decisions. Okay, so advocating means that you're going to identify stakeholders and power structures, talk to them about what you're doing, and look for ways how you can influence their policies, their decisions in favor of the activities which you are doing. Okay, so you need to know how to do advocacy and policy influence. You need to know how to design campaigns, petitions, legislative briefings, do policy advocacy, advocate for policies in certain domains, maybe to favor children, to favor gender issues, policies to favor climate issues and things like that. And there are people who are specialized in advocacy. or in policy advocacy, and their courses on that, and all of those. Then you need to know how to lead and build teams. Okay, because in project management and within this sector, uh the way through which initiatives are being put into place is through the project management approach. And therefore, once you have a particular project on your hand, you will have to set in or develop a project team which has to understand that project, organize them, assign roles to each and every team member, motivate them, resolve all the conflicts, make sure that their wellness is being taken care of so that they can work effectively towards that particular initiative. Therefore, you need to have that ability to build a team and to lead a team. Okay, and this can be done, of course, as at various levels. Experts in leadership will tell you about that, but at least you need to know how to adapt to certain contexts, understand people's frustrations within a group, the group dynamics, understand how you can best motivate them so that they can grow, so that they can perform and produce whatever output is expected of them within that particular setting. Now, what about those who are transitioning? If we have to be more specific. Now, when I say those who are transitioning here, what do I mean? I mean someone who is leaving from, let me say, working in a corporate career, like a career in an organization that is out there for profit, and is transitioning to the non-profit sector. What are some of the advice I can give you? We're already talking about volunteering and fellowship programs. So I'll start from the second point. You need to leverage transferable skills from your previous roles. If, for example, you were in marketing, a marketing person is good at communication, at public relations, and maybe at advocacy. You need to see how you can leverage those roles into uh, whatever non-profit sector career you want to enter into. Marketing and communication people can also be good in fundraising, in business development. You can leverage those skills. Why? Because you're getting into contact with external stakeholders and trying to convince them to subscribe to the initiatives of your organization and fund them. Okay, you need to highlight impact achievements on your career. You could have been working in the corporate area, but maybe you have supported some corporate social responsibility initiatives. Maybe you have helped improve employee well-being. Okay, maybe highlight some of these impact achievements on your CV, some of the things that you have done that you think that have actually impacted people. You need to make sure you align your passion with practicality, as we said earlier, and make sure that you get certified training and further education programs in the particular career aspects which you want to transition into. Let's say, for example, you can be an accountant, but there is specifically what we call accounting for NGOs, which is different from accounting in a corporate world. Okay, in a corporate world, as an accountant, as a finance manager, one of the things you're trying to do is minimize cost, right? You're trying to spend less possible. In the for profit sector, one of the things you're trying to do is to have um some efficient utilization of resources. Let me explain. If you're being given $100,000 for a project, if at the end of, let's say the project is for a year, if at the end of the year you've spent just $50,000, you have not used the resources efficiently. Efficient using of resources means you have to use all the resources you have for a maximum impact. Okay, so at the end of the year, for like $100,000, you must have used, let's say, 97, 98, 99, or even the whole 100 with maximum impact. You're trying to improve the impact. You're not trying to reduce the money you use. Okay, and therefore, if you're working in finance in this domain, you're trying to make sure that you facilitate certain financial situations so that those who are working in the program areas can spend the funds efficiently. And if you see areas where funds are being spent inefficiently, you have to flag and stop those areas. So it's a little bit different, but you can get programs on that where they are going to explain you budgeting for NGOs or activity-based budgeting in project management and things like that, which could be very, very important. Then, of course, some example, if you're a teacher, you can move into education policy role in NGOs, in government, in multilateral organizations. Then you're a journalist, you can move into public relations, communication, business development, IT officers. uh, IT is all over the social impact sector, because we are all using IT tools. So we have IT officers and all of those. Okay. So these are some advice for career transitioners. Uh, just seeing how what you're doing can be used in that other sector. Okay. Even though there are some people now who are moving from the social impact sector to the corporate sector, that is also another thing. I transitioned from the corporate sector to the social impact sector. So yes, just seeing how some of your skills can be used in the social impact sector. So that is the end of my presentation. I've been talking for about an hour, maybe more. So we are going to look at the question and answer session. Maybe the moderator, you can take over from there. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, thank you, Mamo. It was a really inspiring and wonderful session. I would like to see lesser number of questions, and I would like to see the chats and the Q&A with asking about how will be they able to get certificates for their experience. Like they lack a lot of information, like they
Yes.
doesn't know how to get into it, how to get the certificates, how to get into a course or something like that. Like, so I'm getting the questions are less, and compared with that I can see their feelings, more of their
Yes.
feelings in the comment section as well as in the chat boxes. But I'll pick out, I have picked